Welcome everybody to another edition of 5 Minute Adventures. Today we find ourselves in Sequim, Washington, here at the Olympic Game Farm. Today we're going to do a drive through all of the different animals that they have on display. We're going to feed some of them. We're going to talk about Lloyd and Catherine Beebe, the founders of this amazing place. We'll talk about some of the history, and then it's going to be a good time. It always is. This is about our 20th time coming down here, so we know it pretty well. So let's go and explore. So Lloyd Beebe was born May the 2nd, 1916 in Huntington, British Columbia, to his American parents, Charles and Jessie. The Beebes lived in several places between British Columbia and Washington State. They moved to Port Angeles, Washington in 1930. Lloyd held several jobs while attending school, including peeling vegetables at the local hospital, starting at 4 a.m., or delivering newspapers before school to help the family make ends meet. He went to high school for about 2.5 years before leaving to pursue work. Lloyd took in many wild animals as a young man, including mink, skunks, orphaned elk, and a cougar kitten. Lloyd had many exciting adventures tracking and killing cougars for bounty money during the Great Depression. Lloyd married Catherine on November the 28th of 1939. He was 23 years old, and she was 17. They rented a furnished house for about $12 a month in Forks. They had their first child, Melvin, on September the 28th of 1942. Soon after, they went looking for farmland and found this property that we're on today, 87 acres of mostly cleared land in Sequim, Washington. The land had a creek running through it and an amazing view of the Olympic Mountains. In 1945, Lloyd saw his first movie camera. After much discussion, he took a loan against his car and bought the camera, buying rolls of color film when he could afford it. His first film he made was with Melvin as the little archer, along with a young cougar, bear, and deer. This film he sold to Warner Brothers Studios. Soon after that, June 12, 1951, they welcomed their second son, Kenneth. In 1951, Lloyd also wrote to Walt Disney about his wildlife films. Disney Studios brought him and Catherine to Burbank so they could talk. They started filming animal movies and TV shows for the Disney Corporation. The first one they did was called The Vanishing Prairie, followed by Yellowstone Cubs. Disney Productions soon called and had the Beebe family go off to Banff, Alberta, Canada, to make White Wilderness. Lloyd developed a buzzer reward system for the animals that is still used today. White Wilderness took Lloyd all over Canada to film polar bears, caribou, and many other animals. Lloyd was then sent to Antarctica by boat for 18 months to film the 7 cities of Antarctica. After 18 months traveling around Antarctica, filming animals and filming the landscape, Lloyd boarded a ship via New Zealand and came back to San Diego, where he was surprised on the dock by Catherine and the kids. Films came quickly after that, including Nicky, Wild Dogs of the North in Alberta, Lobo in Sedona, Arizona. At Home on the Farm, known at this time as the Disney Wild Animal Ranch, filming began on a number of shows, such as Those Callaways and Minado. February the 13th of 1969, they became grandparents for the very first time with Robert, followed by James on May the 5th of 1975. Lloyd and Catherine decided it was time to build a home on the ranch on a hill overlooking their acreage. That house still stands there today. Soon after moving into the house, unfortunately, Lloyd's father passed away near the woodpile at the bottom of the hill. Over their time with Disney Studios, Lloyd would make around 65 shows and help with over 100 other projects. Some notable projects that were filmed on the ranch include Charlie the Lonesome Cougar, The King of the Grizzlies, and Sita the Mountain Lion. Lloyd was referred to as Disney's secret weapon because of his abilities with animals. After Walt Disney passed away and Roy was running the studio, Roy came to visit Lloyd and Catherine. He presented Lloyd with a rare gold Mickey Mouse watch. 5 days later, Roy passed on December the 20th of 1971. With both of the Disney brothers passed, Lloyd felt he needed to change the direction with the farm. They started giving guided tours for $1 per person. Lloyd spoke to Bill Anderson, the new head of Disney Studios, about changing the name from the Disney Wild Animal Ranch to the Olympic Game Farm. He also wanted to talk about his Disney projects, and Bill said yes to both. Guests were able to come to the farm and see the famous animal actors from shows such as The King of the Grizzlies, Charlie the Lonesome Cougar, and Grizzly Adams. Over the years, naturally, animals have died on the farm, and they are buried on a few acres of fir trees on a hill near the house. As we look through the gift shop here, they have pin boards from the United States as well as around the world for visitors, the thousands of visitors that have come to visit this farm and continue to visit this farm every single year. In the barn here is, unfortunately it's closed right now, but you can see the house up on the hill. In the barn is where they have all of their Disney artifacts and memorabilia. This is the Disney artifacts as well as their reptile area is available from Memorial Day to Labor Day. After Labor Day they close it all up and put it into winter storage until the next season. We have here the original screen-used cabin from the Grizzly Adams TV show, in which Lloyd Beebe was the animal handler and the animal trainer for the grizzly bears and the other animals in that show. Just sitting here on the property. So here we are at the Dungeness Cemetery. This is named after the river just down the way, and it's hard to tell from here. You might be able to see this angle right here. You can see some of the animals that are on the game farm just at the top of the hill here. We're going to take a look around the cemetery here, see if we can find Lloyd and Catherine's final resting spot. So here we are to pay our respects to Lloyd and Catherine Beebe. Lloyd passed away on January the 6th, 2011 of natural causes due to his age, as he was 94 years old. And Catherine passed just 2 days later at the age of 88. They were married for 71 years. Lloyd and Catherine, we thank you so much for your dedication to wildlife and for what you've done for this community. And right here beside Lloyd and Catherine is their son Ken, who just passed away March of this year. All of the information that I've gathered for this video today came straight from Lloyd Beebe's own book, Wilderness Trails and a Dream, the story behind the Olympic Game Farm. This book is for sale in the gift shop at the Olympic Game Farm for $10. We purchased this one a number of years ago, and thankfully this one is hand autographed by both Lloyd and Catherine. The game farm today is currently operated by the grandsons Robert and James. The game farm is open every day except for Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. For more information, you can go to their website. There's a link in the description below. Thank you for joining me on this 5-minute adventure, and I'll see you again next time.